Hello and welcome back to Reason News with me, Alisha Gayaprasad Chetty. Today we're diving into a shocking political crisis that unfolded overnight in South Korea. We're also taking a look at the latest developments in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial. We then go on to a groundbreaking new law that's passed in Australia, which bans social media from children under the age of 16. We also talk about Ariana Grande's departure from The Voice. And lastly, we give you an update in the world of sport. In a move that sent shockwaves through the nation, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol declared martial law in a surprise late-night address. But hold on to your seats because the story takes a wild turn. President Yoon claimed he had no choice but to declare martial law, accusing opposition parties of taking the country's parliament hostage and vowing to eliminate what he called pro-North Korean anti-state forces. But here's where it gets really interesting. Just hours after the declaration, South Korea's parliament sprang into action.
국회의 의결에 따라 대통령은 즉시 비상계엄을 해제해야 합니다. 이제 비상계엄 선포는 무효입니다.
South Korea's parliament has voted to immediately lift a martial law order just hours after it was announced by the country's president Yoon Suk-yeol. And protesters are seen gathering in Seoul in response to the president's surprise move. In a late-night address, he vowed to eliminate what he calls pro-North Korean anti-state forces. He said the opposition parties had taken the country's parliament hostage, adding that he had no choice but to declare martial law.
저는 북한 공산 세력의 위협으로부터 자유 대한민국을 수호하고 우리 국민의 자유와 행복을 약탈하고 있는 파렴치한 종북 반국가 세력들을 일거에 척결하고 자유 헌정 질서를 지키기 위해 비상계엄을 선포합니다.
Following the vote against the order, the National Assembly Speaker called for police and military personnel to withdraw from the Assembly's grounds.
국민 여러분께서는 안심하시기 바랍니다. 국회는 국민과 함께 민주주의를 지키겠습니다. 국회 경내에 들어와 있는 군경은 당장 국회 바깥으로 나가주시기 바랍니다.
국민 여러분, 안심하십시오. 위기는 곧 기회입니다. 이 나라가 후퇴를 거듭하고 있지만 이번 불법 위헌의 계엄 선포로 인하여 더 나쁜 상황으로 추락하는 것이 아니라 이제 그 악순환을 끊어내고 다시 정상사회로 되돌아가는 결정적인 계기가 될 것입니다. 민주주의와 이 나라의 미래와 국민의 안전과 생명, 재산을 지켜내겠습니다.
비상계엄 철폐하라! 비상계엄 철폐하라! 비상계엄 철폐하라!
In a dramatic late-night session, 190 lawmakers managed to bypass police lines and military personnel to reach the voting chamber. They swiftly voted to immediately lift the martial law order. The scene outside the National Assembly was equally intense, with thousands of protesters gathering to voice their opposition to the president's actions. Faced with this unprecedented pushback, President Yoon had no choice but to back down. In the early hours of Wednesday morning, he ordered the military to withdraw from the National Assembly grounds. Yoon stated he would formally lift the declaration after meeting with his cabinet, effectively ending South Korea's brief flirtation with military rule less than 6 hours after it began. This whirlwind of events marks the most significant political crisis South Korea has faced since its transition to democracy in 1987. The opposition has already filed a motion to impeach President Yoon, setting the stage for more political drama in the days to come. So what does this mean for South Korea's democracy, for regional stability, and for President Yoon's political future? We'll be keeping a close eye on these developments and bringing you the latest updates. Now back home, the Senzo Meyiwa case has gripped the nation for years, and there's been a lot of speculation surrounding Kelly Khumalo's alleged involvement. Now we finally have some answers. The lead investigator, Bongani Ganinda, recently revealed that there are no bank records to support the claim that Kelly Khumalo paid the accused to kill Senzo Meyiwa. This comes as a major blow to those who believed Khumalo was the mastermind behind the murder.
Is there any chain of money from Miss Kelly Khumalo to the accused?
No, not electronically, my lord. There's no electronic evidence. In other words, money being transferred from her bank accounts to the...
What you are saying, Brigadier, in another way, from the bank records that you received from the respective banks, there was no evidence to suggest that there was any payment from Miss Kelly Khumalo into the respective account.
Indeed, I agree, my lord, but there was also no such assertions. As I'm saying, the payments that we are aware of were made in cash. As to how they got to the accused, who pay other accused, we don't have that chain of electronic transfer. The money was paid in cash.
However, Geninda also stated that Khumalo remains a person of interest in the case. He was questioned about why Khumalo would want Meyiwa dead, but he remained tight-lipped, saying that the motive is still under investigation. The defense also pointed out that Khumalo is listed as a complainant in the case, despite her cell phone being taken by the intruders. Ginanda's response was that the investigation is ongoing and that they are still gathering evidence. So what does this all mean? Well, it's clear that the case is far from over. While there's no evidence to suggest that Khumalo directly paid the accused, she's still considered a person of interest. Now, Australia has passed a world-first law aimed at protecting children online. The new legislation bans social media platforms from allowing users under 13 to create accounts. For users aged 13 to 16, parental consent will be mandatory. This bold move comes in response to growing concerns about the impact of social media on young people's mental health.
It's passed resolved in the affirmative.
Tonight, Australia taking an unprecedented step, becoming the first country in the world to ban the use of social media apps for anyone under the age of 16.
That's pretty huge.
The landmark law, which overwhelmingly passed with bipartisan support, drawing immediate reaction globally on the very apps expected to be the target of it, including TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and X.
Do we all agree that this is good but bad at the same time?
Under the new law, tech companies will be required to take reasonable steps to verify a user's age and prohibit those under 16 from creating accounts, or else face millions in fines.
We have heard the cries of families who are suffering.
The controversial measure meant to help protect young people from the negative effects of social media. The American Psychological Association has warned about the addictive nature of these apps and the negative impact it can have on a child's mental health and body image. In Australia, Wayne Holdsworth says his son died by suicide after a sextortion scam.
Anyone that says that this is not a good idea has not lived through my life.
But the law is facing fierce opposition, including from the big tech companies and Elon Musk, who wrote on X, seems like a backdoor way to control access to the internet by all Australians. And others, including some teens, are questioning how a law like this will be enforced.
It will only create a generation of young people who will be more technologically literate in bypassing these walls.
Liz, that is such a good point. How is this law going to be enforced?
I mean, that really is the big question right now, and there's not a lot of specifics in the law right now. Gadi, we do know that it could be that they use some sort of technology that's able to estimate someone's age based on a video, or maybe they're going to require users upload documentation proving their age. It's going to be up to the tech companies to figure this out. They have a year to do so before the law takes effect in 2026.
Australia isn't alone in these concerns. Similar legislation is being considered in the United States and Europe. Critics of the law argue it infringes on individual freedoms and might be difficult to enforce. But supporters say it's a necessary step to safeguard children in the digital age. Social media companies will be responsible for enforcing this age limit and could face fines of up to approximately $33 million for systemic failures to prevent underage users. The law aims to protect young people from the potential harms of social media, including negative impacts on mental health and exposure to inappropriate content. Critics argue the ban may have unintended consequences, potentially isolating vulnerable youth who rely on social media for support and community. The legislation includes privacy protections, prohibiting platforms from requiring government-issued IDs or digital ID systems for age verification. Messaging apps, online gaming sites, and educational or health services will be exempt from the ban. The law has sparked debate over its potential impact on child safety, online freedom, and tech policies. Ariana Grande has officially closed the door on returning to The Voice as a coach, and her reason might surprise you. The Seven Rings singer recently opened up about her time on the hit show during its 21st season back in 2021. Here's what she had to say.
I got so emotionally attached to everyone. That's my problem. I can't really do that.
Ariana Grande is sharing why she'll never return to The Voice as a judge. Although Ariana joined the hit singing competition show as a coach for its 21st season in 2021, the Wicked star is now revealing that she definitely won't be returning to the iconic red chairs. Ariana says this to Bowen Yang and Matt Rogers on the November 6th episode of their Las Culturistas podcast.
I can't really do that because I really get in.
Yeah.
I really get in there with everyone. And I love everyone so much. I love meeting people and I felt so invested.
Yeah.
And I still do.
The 31-year-old goes on to explain that it's hard to care for all of the contestants, though she does still stay in touch with some of them today.
I see them all on Instagram.
Do you
and I'm
keep in touch with?
Yes, I mean, I've been busy. I haven't really been in touch with anyone, but I love them and I'm in touch with them on Instagram. I like their posts. I see their things. I see what they're up to. Bella had a baby.
Aww.
Sasha's putting out solo music. Sasha of Jim and Sasha.
Incredible.
And, he sent me his project last year and he's so talented.
Yeah.
And so I'm still in touch with some of them, but it's just I get very involved.
Additionally, Ariana does admit that she enjoyed spinning around in the giant red chair.
And do you think you mostly did it because the chair spun?
So, no, but it was a perk.
It was a perk.
It was a good perk.
The theme park thing of this.
Yes, it's so
fun.
crazy.
Feels really fun to me.
It is really fun.
Clearly to you too.
You have to go do it at some point.
I would love to hit the button.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
And during her run as a coach, the singer was extremely candid about how difficult of a gig it actually was, especially because she was surrounded by fellow coaches Blake Shelton, Kelly Clarkson, and John Legend, all of whom had previous experience on the show. Ariana tells E! News at the time in 2021, quote, "You watch it on TV and you think okay, I'm going to get in there and it's going to be easy, whatever, but it's so hard. The other coaches are so seasoned and so great at it."
Despite her busy schedule, Ariana has made efforts to stay connected with her former team members. While Ariana won't be returning to The Voice, she expressed gratitude for the experience and the chance to work alongside seasoned coaches like Blake Shelton, Kelly Clarkson, and John Legend. Now in the world of sport, Ruud van Nistelrooy savoured his first match in charge of Leicester with a 3-1 Premier League win over West Ham, while Crystal Palace edged Ipswich 1-0 on Tuesday. Chelsea thrashed 10-man Southampton 5-1 to go second on goal difference ahead of Arsenal, who beat Manchester United 2-0. Manchester City snapped their 7-game winless run by beating Nottingham Forest 3-0 to go fourth. Mohamed Salah's second-half double was not enough to extend Liverpool's 7-game winning run in all competitions as they failed to win for just the third time in 21 games under Arne Slot. Italy will host the Davis Cup Final 8 from 2025 to 2027. Lewis Hamilton bids farewell this weekend to Mercedes, the team that carried him to 6 world titles, as his future outfit Ferrari seek to win a first constructors' crown in 16 years. Novak Djokovic will begin his 2025 season and bid for an 11th Australian Open title at the Brisbane International. And the Comrades Marathon Association announced that the entry cap of 23,000 for next year's Comrades Marathon has been reached. And that's a wrap on today's Reason News. So we covered a lot of ground. What was your top story? Let us know in the comments below. But before you go, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. We'll be back with more news, but until then, stay informed and stay curious.